It's strange giving the announcements against the backcloth of an empty church. But the media have misreported the news. The churches are not closed. Sandyford is not closed. Its buildings are, except at certain times for individual prayer, but more of that next week. The church itself, as the people of God, is still very much open. And we hope that you will all find this in coming days and perhaps months as we seek to care for one another. A particular request here to the Sandyford family. First of all, to pray for Bert Tweedy as he goes to the funeral of his sister on Monday. And for Sarah Yang's father, who will have his operation on Tuesday at 11 a.m. China time. That is 3 a.m. our time. A general plea here for all of us is to look out for one another, and particularly for those who are most vulnerable. It's quite a challenge conducting all our meetings online. We're doing everything we can to reach out to you all and to make our services and meetings as accessible as possible. It's a steep learning curve, and we ask you to bear with us. As for the service, we apologize to any families listening that we do not have a specific slot for the children this morning. We've not forgotten you. David has sent out or is sending out notes to you, and we're working on how we can integrate into our morning service something for the children, as we want to keep all the families together with us. You'll see from the order of service sent out in an email and now on the screen, all the virtual meetings being held this week. The student meetings on Monday and Tuesday will be led by Sarah. Please direct any queries, any questions to her. Some students who've not physically joined these Bible studies before, but who've been coming to our services, are warmly invited to do so. The software is the same as that which is currently being used by the Glasgow University students. For the prayer meeting, we are following Patrick's rota, focusing on Wednesday on Psalm 48 and receiving an update from Patrick on the emailed copy of the news he will have circulated beforehand. Then we'll be able to share in corporate prayer in our small groups. For the beta group on Thursday, please contact Bob Trelogan, who will warmly welcome you to his online meeting. Obviously, there's no Friday cafe this week. This evening, we'll be beginning a series on the character of God. We can so easily focus on the virus and all the problems which rightly involve us and preoccupy us all. But it'll be good not to lose sight of God and to look up and to remind ourselves of some of his attributes. Our good friend and former member, Bill Dunlop, will be delivering this series, beginning with a sermon on the grace of God, an aspect of his character which can be of immense comfort in the present crisis. And last but not least, as far as the announcements are concerned, a big thank you to all who have helped put this service together, to Johnny Wilson for leading, and particularly to Andrew Giffen, who is continuing his series in Paul's letter to the Romans. Now, I have been asked to announce an email from the moderator of the General Assembly, Colin Sinclair. It concerns a call for a national day of prayer and action. The moderator writes, "There are many different ways the church can and should offer support and help to their communities at this time. But one way is through prayer. We believe in a God who hears and answers prayer. We are encouraged to come honestly in prayer, sharing openly our emotions, questions, and concerns in the light of COVID-19. We've become aware in a new way of our frailty and the need to renew our dependence on God. I welcome this call to prayer across the UK and encourage you to join in it this Sunday wherever you are." And then the request to light a candle. The call to prayer asks everyone to light a candle at 7 p.m. on Sunday as a visible symbol of the light of life, Jesus Christ, our source and hope in prayer. Church leaders are seeking to quell fears and remind us of God's presence and love. They write, "At such a time as this, when so many are fearful and there is great uncertainty, we are reminded of our dependence on our loving Heavenly Father and the future that He holds." And they speak of a prayer for leaders. We have the great privilege and freedom to be able to call upon God wherever we are, individually and corporately, for healing in our nation. We would pray for all in leadership at this time, making decisions about the containment of COVID-19 virus, for those working in health and social care, and especially for the most vulnerable, whether elderly or those with underlying health conditions. There are already stories being told of wonderful acts of kindness across neighborhoods. Alongside your prayers, take the opportunity to telephone or email someone who is isolated. Buy some additional food for your local food bank. Offer to deliver shopping for an elderly neighbor. We may not be able to touch physically, but we can make connections in so many other ways. At 7 p.m. this Sunday, light a candle in the windows of your homes as a visible symbol of the light of life, Jesus Christ, our source and hope in prayer. And one final word with regard to Mothering Sunday. We note that this call to prayer and action comes on Mothering Sunday, a time of thankfulness, remembering especially mothers that have served us, often in very costly ways. It's also a very mixed day for many. For some, the remembrance is painful, and for others, Mothering Sunday is a reminder of disappointment or loss. In many ways, this period under the shadow of the coronavirus will be prompting similarly diverse reactions. And so it seems especially appropriate that the call to prayer is made this Sunday. And one final reference to 1 Peter 5:7. Cast all your care on Him, because He cares for you. And now we continue our worship with our next item of praise. Hear our prayer.